All right, here we are. We're into the 10th week of a 10-week series that I was doing based on the book Change Your World by John Maxwell and Rob Hoskins that I read a couple months ago now. And so that means this is the final video in the series. Although, quite honestly, what I had thought today was going to be way back when I started the series, today is not going to be, and next week will be. What do I mean by that? Well, I've been telling you how there's a project, there's a mission that really that book kind of was the catalyst for me to say, I have to do this. If you go way back, right before the series, the video called Reading the Signs was where I talked about how there were so many signs in that book that I just had to, I know I have to go ahead and do this thing that I've been thinking about for almost a year now. And so that book was kind of the catalyst for that to happen. And so what I wanted to do was go through the book, and that's what I did. I did all 9 chapters over the last 9 weeks. And today was going to be the day when I kind of talk about what this project is, this mission is, because you're going to, I think a lot of you are going to want to in some way be involved in it. And if you don't want to, you're going to know people who will. But I'm not going to talk about it today because as I was then going through this series with you over the last 9 weeks, of course, I keep reading other books. And there was another book that I read that just was saying so many of the same things, just in other ways. And it's interesting because I wasn't even planning to, I didn't know which book I wanted to read next. I always have a giant, I've got, most of those I've read, but I still have some on that shelf where it's like, oh, I want to read that. I want to read that. So I have a stack. I probably have 25 or 30 books that I want to read. And my goal is always to read anywhere from 36 to 48 in a year. So, okay, hopefully I get through them. Well, this book is called Thought Leader Launch. Hopefully you can see that okay. It's on my Kindle, on my iPad. And it's by Aurora Winter is her name. Now, it's not a book necessarily that many of you would pick up. It was about using a book to, writing books to get your message out, and then the different other ways that you can use it. So becoming a speaker like what I do, or there's a variety of things like that. So it's not necessarily a book that you're going to pick up, although I would recommend you do so just for the messages that all of a sudden you'll see in it. And it was quite honestly near the end of the book where all of a sudden all of these messages were coming through that I said, oh, I got to talk about this. And so I'm going to talk about a few of them. If you didn't listen to the podcast episode this week, that's what I would suggest you do because I went into more detail. It's one of the longest episodes I've ever had. I'm going to try and keep this video in the 10 to 12 minute range like usual. Okay, so I'm just going to pick out some of the keys, but the quotes from Buckminster Fuller just were hitting me over the head. And then this concept that Aurora Winter talked about was right in line with what Maxwell and Hoskins were saying in Change Your World, as were the quotes by Fuller. So I'm going to touch on a few of those today. And then next week, I'm going to be talking a lot about what this mission is that I'm going to be on now. And it's right in line with what I do with you anyway. She talked about your massively transformative purpose, your MTP. And they're right there, the word transformative. That was a huge part of the Change Your World book. She says, your massively transformative purpose is your North Star, your fuel, your magnet. It will make you unstoppable. It will make you compelling. It will attract support from unexpected quarters. So I expect some of you will be interested in this massively transformative purpose of mine, and this mission that you're going to be hearing about, this project. But there will be other people who it's like, wow, I didn't expect them to be as into it as they are. Your clear intention is the firm foundation upon which everything else is built. Your purpose springs forth from the depth of your soul, fed by your unique life experiences. Yeah, that's what you're going to find. What you're going to hear about is it's fed by what I've done for the last 40 years, being a teacher and a coach, trying to help kids have the best experience possible in both realms. You're unique and your purpose is unique. You're the only person alive on planet Earth who can fulfill your MTP as precisely as you will. Therefore, it is both your joy and your responsibility. In other words, whatever you find as your purpose, that's where you will feel great joy because you're fulfilling a purpose. But because it's unique to you, it's also your responsibility to work to fulfill it. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, she's speaking right to me again. See what I mean about reading signs, the Change Your World book? There were so many elements in there that I've gone over in the last 9 weeks. Same thing. Well, this was saying, Scott, it's time. Get to this purpose. And so she starts to give some ideas. She said, write down 24 things that you're curious about. And then write down 12 massive problems you would like to solve. And as you look at those two lists, you're going to start to kind of zero in on, oh, I'm seeing some trend here, some pattern, but you're also going to start to see that's the thing that I really need to focus on, really want to focus on. Because your massively transformative purpose is based on things that you're interested in, but also really things that you want to fix in this world, something that you want to change, some problem that you see needs fixing. Well, think about it. Change your world, right? And then she talked about, she said, define your massively transformative purpose. A powerful MTP has a strong polarity. It's a magnet. It will repel and attract. You go, repel? Well, sure, there's going to be some people who are going to go, what are you talking about? That's never going to work. And you're always going to have those people who will not be on board. But you're then also going to have those who are like, bingo, I'm all in. And she says that's your tribe, okay? Which to me, those are those of you who watch these, listen to the podcast, read the posts, I guess you're part of my tribe, so to speak. They'll say, yes, I agree. How can I help? You're going to want to be involved, I think. She then talked about Buckminster Fuller. I had no idea who he was. I was thinking he was the Fuller Brush guy. No, he was an architect. He was an inventor. He brought the geodesic dome, which some other guy had invented in Germany 28 years, I think it was, before him, brought it to America and patented it and did all kinds of amazing things. You should read about Buckminster Fuller. But what happened to him, his life story is very interesting. She talks about him, then I got on Wikipedia and read about him. He's like, wow, very interesting dude. But he had things were at a really bad time in his life when he was a young man. Really bad things went on. Got expelled from Harvard, just business failed. So much of his friends and family just kind of abandoned him because of them investing in his business and it failing. And then his daughter died. She was almost 4. And he was ready to commit suicide. He thought that maybe he and his wife, the way they had their house or whatever, had, too damp. It maybe contributed to her dying. He was just beyond himself. And he thought, you know what, if I just kill myself, she'll be able to get the life insurance and maybe turn her life around. And he was walking along Lake Michigan. He was living in Chicago, walking along Lake Michigan, and he had this revelation. And you might not believe in woo stuff like this, but he felt like this voice was speaking to him. He felt he was kind of floating. And he said, he said, from now on, this is the voice, you need never await temporal attestation of your thought. You think the truth. You do not have the right to eliminate yourself. You do not belong to you. You belong to the universe. Your significance, that word was key to me, will remain forever obscure to you, but you may assume that you're fulfilling your role if you apply yourself to converting your experiences to the highest advantage of others. And so the significance, it's going to play a key role in what you hear next week, okay? And converting your experiences to the highest advantage of others, helping others. That's right in line with what I'm trying to do. It's always been for me about trying to help kids have the best experience possible. He said, so I vowed to keep myself alive, but only if I'd never use me again, just for me. How many of you do that? How many of you are thinking about others as much as that? I'm sure most of you do when you're teaching and coaching, but that's how we need to live our lives, to recognize the importance that we're just part of this and we want to be here to help others. Each of us is born as two, and we really belong to each other. I vowed to do my own thinking instead of trying to accommodate everyone else's opinions, credos, and theories. Boy, did I need that, because that's me. I'm always trying to help others. I mean, it's great to help others, but I'm always worried about what others think, as opposed to, you know what, I need to do this and not worry about, oh, they're going to say this is a dumb idea, whatever it might be. I vowed to apply my own inventory of experiences to the problems that affect everyone on planet Earth. Okay, I'm not going to go that big and try to fix up problems of everyone on Earth, but I am going to use my experiences to try and help, again, as Maxwell Hoskins put it, my world, changing your world. And so I just think there's just great things in there. Then Aurora Winter, the writer of the book, goes into a little bit more detail on him. I want to skip ahead here because there were so many great quotes from him in here, and again, late in the book. But she said, here's one he said, you have to decide whether you want to make money or make sense, as the two are mutually exclusive. She then said, Fuller's talking about an error of thinking, chasing the symbol of value, money, rather than the value itself. If you create value, the natural byproduct is wealth of whatever sort. Giving and receiving occur simultaneously and define each other. If you idolize the symbol of wealth, your thinking is inaccurate. So he was focused on the importance of intention. What are you trying to do with your life in terms of, are you just trying to make money, or are you trying to make the world a better place, and the byproduct of that becomes the money? That's a good thing. And then the last thing from him, on the edge of a large ship's rudder is a miniature rudder called a trim tab. Moving that trim tab builds a low pressure which turns the rudder that steers a giant ship with almost no effort. In society, one individual can be a trim tab, making a major difference in changing the course of the gigantic ship of state. So I said, call me trim tab. In Wikipedia, there's a picture of his gravestone, and it says, call me trim tab, Bucky. So Aurora says, write down your MTP and how this will make the world, or your corner of it, a better place. Declare you've decided to be in a series of I am statements. And then she did it. So I did it, and that's what I'm going to wrap up with today as we then get ready to move on to next week. My massively transformative purpose: to help all kids have a positive, joyful, and impactful educational, athletic, and activities experience. I will do this by working directly with kids. I will also do this by training and working with the adults involved in kids' experiences to be positive, encouraging, supportive, and empathetic leaders of significance in kids' lives. That's going to come back next week in a big way. I am a conduit between those with the means to help financially support the training of those adults, to the adults who will have great impact on the kids, and then to the kids themselves who are seeking to receive that positive impact. More on that next week. My I am statements: I am positive, I'm inquisitive, I'm compassionate, I'm empathetic, I'm helpful, I'm enthusiastic, I'm disciplined, driven, focused, and fearless. I did those 4 in a row because this is one of the things that I've had written on my goals sheet for the last few years. I'm a communicator, I'm a catalyst for helpful change. I am a connector, bringing different people together to create great experiences for everyone involved in them. She then goes on to say you should have a moonshot goal, something big, and then 10x it, okay? I'm going to give you my moonshot goal next week as we talk more next week about this new mission, and this massively transformative purpose that I just told you about, how that's going to apply to all of us, and what I hope to do to help make my world a better world, but more importantly, the world of kids all around our country and all around the world have a better experience. So next week, I'll be talking more about that. Yeah, I'm really excited to bring this out to you, and hopefully you're excited to hear about it, because I think any of you who coach, any of you who teach, any of you who lead young people, you're going to want to hear about this because you're going to like it. All right. Well, I went a little longer than I was expecting or hoping to, but hopefully you all stayed with me. And yeah, come back next week and find out what the big deal is going to be. We'll talk to you then.